crime rate will decline. Time for us to start using our minds. America needs reform, social democracy to replace capitalism. Feed the poor, shelter the homeless, and create jobs. It's simple. I live my life in a city, overfilled with crime, intoxicated with pity, suspended in time. Every day it's a struggle between life and death. Gotta juggle with fate before my last breath. It's a test, my only quest to beat the odds. So I hold my own when times are hard. I was dealt bad cars, born broke and poor. The lack of food in my gut got me hungry for more. Growing up in the hood, watching the sunset. A great cloud over my head follows my every step. They say life is a gift, so be happy to live. But life in the ghetto is too negative. Drama in the streets, I can't sleep, I'm hearing gunshots. Flying bullets be making bodies drop. My neighborhood is full of crooks with bad looks. Smoking weed, clocking cheese, living like wild G's. DC is giving birth to killers. Baby mothers on welfare and drug dealers. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't want no racist war. 5, 6, 7, 8. Love, peace, war, and hate. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't want George Bush's war. 5, 6, 7, 8. Love, peace, war, and hate. Born alone, die alone. God set me free from this world of agony. Ain't no love in the streets. Another murder occurred. Another brother got shot. Died from one to the dome. Outlined in chalk. Brotherly love is needed. I see our future depleted when brothers die in the line of crossfire. So many mothers cry, feel the pain of a lost one. Only 21. Tell us what should we do? It's on you. Young, black, and thuggin'. This ain't living. My road dog doing 5 in prison. And I miss them. Gotta follow my vision to keep from going under. We all numbers doing time on the block. Ducking the cops. Take a look in my eyes. Tell me, what do you see? The future is dark and we don't have a clue. Mr. Bush, please open your ears and listen. It's a war going on. America is a prison. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't want no racist war. 5, 6, 7, 8. Love, peace, war, and hate. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't want no racist war. 5, 6, 7, 8. Love, peace, war, and hate. 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 It's the city of politics and phony smiles. Politicians run a game on the low profile. It's the home of the president and first lady. Maybe Bill didn't fuck Monica. Do you think so? I don't know, but to me it's a shame. So many lives being sold for profit and gain. And I dwell on the south side for finale. Living here, watching my people make crack sales. Willie Bowtie is shutting us down. So we rally for the hospital, holding it down. Population control, steady holding us down. So we rally for the homeless, shutting them down. I remember Gary Graham, so I'm kicking the facts. Ain't no love for Bush, cause he killing all blacks. Come on, what's going on in the nation's cap? 30% homeless, hopeless, and most of them black. 2001 was a hectic year. Demonstrations and protests. Power to the people with guns. Fight back, take back, stand up, move up, rise up, stand up, take back, fight back, take back, stand up, move up, rise up, stand up, take back, fight back. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't want no racist war. 5,
Alrighty.
6, 7, 8. Love, peace, war, and hate. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't want George Bush's war. 5, 6, 7, 8. Love, peace, war, and hate. 1, 2, 3, 4.
You know what, folks? I'm back at it again. What's up, Andrea? What's up, Jade? I hope y'all can hear me well. Yeah, this topic I never get tired of. And I call this, this topic, I would say this falls under the I know black people category. It's like a TV program where you spin the wheel and they ask you a topic. Well, this topic right here, the triangular trade, I don't see how anybody could ever get tired of it, to be honest with you, because I'm gonna keep it real. A lot of folks don't really know a lot about it, and including myself, which is why, um, and nor would I expect people to know. Why would we expect people to know? Because this should be, the triangular trade. If you ask me, this should be a, a class you take in high school every year, at least at the bare minimum. You see what I mean? Maybe, and if you're lucky, maybe you start this kind of class in middle school. You see what I mean? Like a whole class on the triangular trade. You see what I mean? Like, because the more you find out about it, the more you find out that, damn, you didn't know that much about it, And so we back on it again. Let me see here. So I'm just going to start here with this wiki thing description, and then jump out of wiki into some other sources and references on the topic. Where we left off last time was here with the map, the updating of the American slave revolt epicenter map. And so I have that also ready here in Adobe Illustrator, the actual map, so I can update it at any time. So when I come across some information today with some dating, or even locations, I'm going to add the location but add the dating to the map. And as you can see, the epicenter is outlined here in red. It's red. It's in the center, and a lot of folks don't know that the first slave revolt on record, it happens within that epicenter, you know. Yes, the first one, and I'm talking about first, like long before Haiti. You see what I mean? Centuries before Haiti, before the Haitian Revolution. One, maybe 2 centuries. You see what I'm saying? Um, and 2 centuries is a long time. 1 century is a long time, but 2 centuries is a long time to think about revolts. That's 200 years of revolts. You see what I mean? Slave revolts. So to think that cats, Africans, African diaspora, were revolting in the 1500s. Let's be clear about that, and also got, freed because of these revolts. Um, I think it's paramount that we go over that, because it may change how we look at ourselves. It may change how we look at history. I mean, we didn't necessarily ask. No, we didn't ask for freedom. I mean, that's a story in itself. Someone giving freedom, going to war for us, for our freedom. We often think as Americans, as African Americans, Americans and African Americans, we're taught that the Civil War, was about slavery. Okay, people could debate whether it was about slavery or not, but let's make it clear. The Civil War, if it was about slavery, it was a war about slavery late in the game, because revolts are wars. You see what I'm saying? Revolts are actual wars. And if you read the details, it's when they take a weapon, knock you upside the head, chop your head off, kill the women and men, and, stuff like that to get free. That was going on back in the 1500s. And, the Civil War is centuries later also. So the American Civil War is centuries later also. So if that Civil War was about slavery, it was late in the game. It was late in the game, and but at the same time, you could put into context the arrival of slaves maybe in the northern territories. Doesn't coincide with South America, Central America, you know, South America, maybe parts of the Caribbean. Okay, maybe that's true, but let's go over some of that. So let me flip out of here. Let me see who else is in here. Okay, Jade and Andrea. Okay, so let's see here. And whoever else is listening. So let me see. Let me take this map off for a second and see what we got. Boom. The triangular slave The triangular trade or triangle trade is the trade between the three parts, regions. Triangular trade usually involves when a region has export commodities that are not required in the region from which its major imports come. It has been used to offset trade imbalances between different regions. The Atlantic slave trade used a system of three-way transatlantic exchanges, known historically as the triangular trade, which operated between Europe, Africa, and the Americas, right? The Americas. Um, and I would dare say some of this map is a little off, but maybe not. But let's see here. Right. The triangular trade, which operated between Europe, Africa, and the Americas from the 16th century to the 19th centuries, slave ships were outfitted in Europe and shipped manufactured European goods to West Africa to buy slaves for sale in the Americas. So, so the ships were built. The ships were built with manufactured goods, European manufactured goods, put on the boats. They went to West Africa to buy slaves for the sale in the Americas, where ships' holds were filled with the American commodities for Europe. Where ships' holds were filled with American commodities to Europe. This trade volume was primarily with South America. But a classic example developed in the 20th century study of the triangular trade is the colonial molasses trade, which involved the circuitous trading of slaves. Right. Sugar, often in liquid form as molasses, and rum between West Africa, the West Indies, and northern colonies of British Northern America in the 17th and 18th centuries. The slaves grew the sugar that was used to brew rum, which in turn was traded for more slaves. In the circuit, the sea lane was from Africa to West Indies and later also to Brazil, was known as the Middle Passage. Its cargo, let me see here. Okay, West Indies, from West Africa to West Indies and later also Brazil. Okay, West Indies is the Caribbean islands here. Okay, and then later Brazil, known as the Middle Passage. Its cargo consisted of abducted or recently purchased African people. During the Age of Sail, is the period that lasted at the latest from the mid-16th century. Oh, let me drop the link here to Jade also. Sorry about that, Jay. Let me see here. Let me drop the link, bro, so you can hop on up too as well. Let me see. Boom. During the Age of Sail, the particular routes were also shaped by the powerful influence of winds and currents. For example, the main trading nations of Western Europe, it was much easier to sail westward after first going south in latitudes. Okay, so you see that, right? It's much easier from Europe with the trade winds to come here first. And then it's much easier to go this way from here, right? And then back from there. Okay, so yeah, so a lot of this was, or some of it had was engineered. The path, the routes had something to do with the trade winds. It was much easier to sail westward after going south 300 or 30. What is this? 30 knots latitude? What is that? Is that what? 30 north. Okay, 30 parallel north latitude and reaching the so-called trade winds, thus arriving in the Caribbean rather than going straight west to North America mainland. Exactly. Okay. Returning from North America, it was easiest to follow the Gulf Stream in a northeasterly direction using the westerlies anti-trades. Okay, let me see. Let me just try to get that up here on the screen too. Boom. This should give people an idea of it. You see that? Okay. Oops. Boom. Yeah. Oh, did I just say something? Okay, Jade, what's up? There you go, bro. How you doing, man?
Bro, how you doing, man?
You in the house?
Yeah, man.
Okay, yeah, I got some exciting information, but I'm just opening it up with this.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I think we talked a little bit about this yesterday. Or you did actually. You mentioned some of this yesterday here at this point. Um, let me see here. Let me just continue and get out of it. Or you could take this part over if you want. Because you did this yesterday, and then I can just jump back in. Well, no, let me continue. Let me just read this.
Yeah, continue, and then
Yeah.
I'll jump in when you.
Yeah. During the age of sail, the particular routes were also shaped by the powerful influence of winds and currents. For example, the main trading. Okay, we covered that. Returning from North America, it was easiest to follow the Gulf Stream in a northeasterly direction using westerlies. Is this westerlies or westerlies? Anti-trade. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, they're talking about the trade winds there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And let me just zoom back up so people can see that. You see? And then yeah, exactly.
So that's the trade winds that we were speaking about. There's various winds that travel around the world naturally. And if you catch the this wind, it can transport you to parts of the world.
Right.
And
It's the
also,
same thing airplanes use. Airplanes use it. They don't fly against the flow of the wind. They fly with the flow of the wind.
like a flight path. Yeah.
Yeah. To save gas.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to save time. The gas and time, it would have the opposite effect if they went against the trade winds. It would take them longer and it would cost them more.
Right.
Right. So let me see here. Even before the voyages of Christopher Columbus, which are between 1492 and 1504, the Portuguese had been using a singular triangle. You see that?
Yes.
Right, to
parts of Africa
to sail to the Canary Islands and the Azores, and it was then expanded onward. Right. So the Portuguese, and let me see something here. What year is this?
I think I've got a timeline. It said 1441, 10 Africans from Guinea coast were shipped to Portugal.
Shipped to Portugal, yeah. Okay. Okay. 1441. Okay, I got you. Yeah, and do me a favor. I'm gonna update that map as we go along. So if you hear anything or come across anything about any revolts, even if it's in Europe, just let me know. Even though we don't hear about it often in Europe because most of the people were brought to the Americas. But either way, in America or Europe or anywhere, if you hear something about a revolt, let me know.
Okay.
So I can jot it down. The countries that controlled the transatlantic slave market until the 18th century, in terms of the number of enslaved people shipped, were the United Kingdom, Portugal, and France. Yeah, well, there you have it. France is condemned once again on the international stage. Yeah. Let's see here. All right.
UK as well. The three, Spain. They weren't the only ones, but the main people, weren't they?
Look at this, man. This is some big numbers, bro. Total number of slaves embarked to America from 1450 until the 1800 by country. Look at that. Great Britain, 2,600,051. France, 1 million. Portugal, 1 million. The Netherlands, 400,000. Denmark, USA, 125,000. Denmark 83, 123 in Spain. You know, this gives a different look too, because when you think about African Americans, and of course, we're not the only ones slavery impacted, obviously, right? In fact, but we're kind of coming towards the end of it, right?
Yeah, an ancient practice, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, but I just mean in terms of the triangular trade,
Yeah,
where,
that was a modern. That was that definitely
or
was a modern thing
or
with the
maybe,
age of sail.
yeah, maybe not necessarily the end, but we're a minority in this. We're a minority. I mean, what do they mean when they say USA? Are they talking about the USA was established when they brought these 125,000 slaves, or according to this map? You see this map right here?
Yeah, it's so that's saying so the total numbers that embarked. So what it's saying is throughout the whole period. I think that's what he's saying. But again, that's just maybe a rough figure, isn't it? That's what they want us to believe. But
Well, yeah, true.
so that could be just the people that actually survived. So that probably wouldn't be the right number of people actually brought over, because a large amount of people lost their lives
Well,
on
people, you know what it is? I think it has something to do with the border between the Spanish and the U.S. What they considered the U.S. at that time
right.
changed, and so when they talk about the U.S., I believe that 125, they're talking about from 1619 Jamestown colony, but that same region used to be part of the Spanish thing, and slaves were coming there before that. I
Right.
believe that has something to do with it, or a similar region. Let me see something here. Is that what the I believe that's what some of the, this map might reflect. The borders changing. I mean, what was part of Spanish territory became North America, became USA territory. But let me see something here. But obviously it was going on before Jamestown. It's off. Okay. 16. Let me just jump out of this for a second, because but I have a lot of some interesting resources here I'm going to pull up, outside of just this, obviously. Let me see something here. Can I go back? Is that it? Yeah. Could you see that map? You can see this map, right?
Yeah. I
Okay.
can see the graph of the
Okay.
total numbers of slaves embarked.
Okay. Now let me pull that down here, and let me open this up here real quick. The arrival of the first captives to Jamestown Colony in 1619 is often seen as the beginning of slavery in America, but enslaved Africans arrived in North America as early as the 1500s. Exactly. I bet you they're going to talk about that. All right. In the late August 1619, the White Lion, an English privateer commanded by John Jope, sailed into Point Comfort, and dropped anchor in the James River, Virginia. Colonist John Rolfe documented the arrival of the ship and the 20 and odd Africans on board. His journey entry is immortalized in textbooks, with 1619 often used as a reference point for teaching the origins of slavery in America. But the history, it seems, is far more complicated than a single date. It is believed that the first Africans brought to the colony of Virginia 400 years ago this month were Kimbundu speaking people from the kingdom of Ndongo, located in part of present day Angola. Slave traders forced the captives to march several hundred miles to the coast to board the San Juan Bautista, one of the least 36 transatlantic Portuguese and Spanish slave ships. The ships embarked with the 350 the ships embarked the ship embarked with about 350 Africans on board, but hunger and disease took a swift toll. En route, about 150 captives died. Then, when the San Juan Bautista approached what is now Veracruz, Mexico, in the summer of 1619, it entered two ships. the White Line, and another English privateer, the Treasurer. The crews stormed the vulnerable slave ship and seized 50 to 60 of the remaining Africans. After the pair sailed to Virginia. As noted by Rolfe, when the White Line arrived in what is now present-day Hampton, Virginia, the Africans were, you see, the Africans were offloaded and bought for victuals. What is victuals? What is that? Let me see something here. They're using some.
They were bought for victuals. Yeah.
Food or provisions. Okay, that's what that is. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I never heard of that word before. Governor Sir George Hurdley and the head merchant Abraham Pearsley acquired the majority of captives, most of whom were kept in Jamestown, America's first permanent English settlement. So you see here, they say what is now present day Hampton, Virginia, right? And I believe that is there was a border change then. Let me just double check something. Right. Okay, let me see here. 2 seconds here.
I'm okay to can I put some stuff in the chat? Is that okay?
Yeah.
While you're
go for
talking, is that all right?
Yep.
Okay.
Sure, man. All right, let me see something here about that. The colony history, right? Okay. Yeah. Yes. Okay. May weeks American slightly after post-colonial history. No. No. Let me go back here. I'm just trying to get a exact date here. Right, man. You know, I believe this is like 18 in the early 1800s, bro. So,
wow.
so this territory, you know, I knew this, but I wasn't sure about the date, and that's why, you know, I want to make sure I'm on point with this, since other people are going to be checking this out. But this is late, man. Florida, and I believe some other territories. This is right, and maybe even further north at one time. I mean, Florida was acquired by the U.S. in 1819. So let me see. So if I go back, and I believe it's further territories, maybe earlier there was some other treaties. Let me see here.
That's the History Channel.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I get it. Yeah, brother. This is maybe a century earlier. This was not even. Let me see. This was contested territory up until late. That's what that is. The Bill of Rights. Yeah, exactly. And in 1776, Virginia and the rest of the American colonies would declare independence from Great Britain, right? So this was not the USA. That's what it is, bro. So, and then I guess there's some discrepancy over who these so-called slaves, right, in that map are going to be attributed to. You see what I mean? Like that. That's so funny.
Take the blame.
Yeah, they don't want to take credit for the slaves, you know what I'm saying? That's so funny, man. You know, but it gets tricky. It gets tricky. It gets tricky there. Oh, let me see. You put something in the back chat. Okay. Let me see here. Yeah. Can you can't actually add these into the chat
I was
yourself?
trying to, but the last two that I was trying to put in, they're failing to post in there. One of them went in, Jamestown. Okay, so
Yeah, I wonder why they didn't go in here. Let me put this in the chat too. Try it again and see, just to see if there was some sort of issue. Like, it could be maybe just the internet, man. Let me see here. Okay, so let me get back to this. I'll put these in and then get back to what I was getting at here.
Continue.
Let me see.
Pasting some stuff in there.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
so
it's not working.
It's not working?
No, for some reason.
Oh, damn. That's unfortunate. Let me see. Okay. Well, I'll just do it real quick. Copy. Put that here. Yeah. Okay. Boom. Then I'll put this. I only have 2 more left, so.
Sorry.
Put that here. It's okay. Let me see. I'm almost done.
Okay,
it's the last one here. And I'll throw this one up too. Copy. Okay. So here we go. So now let me get back to that. Where was I here? I was on Wiki. I was here now. Right. I was on this map. So that's where the discrepancy is here with this USA 125, because the USA, this is what I'm curious about. What happened to the slaves that were in this territory when the USA acquired that territory? Is it the same history as the U.S. Virgin Islands? Like in the case of the U.S. Virgin Islands, the U.S. bought the Virgin Islands from Denmark and everything on it. It's people and everything that was on it. The people.
Full package.
Exactly. Yeah. So that wouldn't even be attributed. You know, those slaves at that time, or those people made to be slaves in the Virgin Islands, those numbers, depending on how you look them up, they wouldn't be attributed to the U.S. They would be attributed to Denmark, even though these people are U.S. citizens.
Well, yeah, it's the same as in Jamaica with the Maroons. So when Spain was in Jamaica, they initially brought slaves. And when England defeated Spain and conquered Jamaica, the Spanish freed their slaves. So obviously that wouldn't have been accounted for as well, a proper number.
Right. Exactly.
That was the birth of the Maroons.
Yeah, so these numbers, it depends on how but the U.S. looks pretty innocent, although in terms of the amount of humans that were trafficked.
Yeah, it seems to be quite a small number, but I think they had quite a large breeding program.
Well, I think they had a large breeding program, and I think they had a lot of treaties which those persons were, taken under the American banner, which kind of, all of a sudden, even though they're not listed as being trafficked to the U.S., and they're basically sold to the U.S.
and classed as Americans.
Right. They're basically, exactly, at a native time and classed as Americans. So as U.S. citizens, because that overlaps the
because obviously America was the first country to be independent in the Western Hemisphere, so to speak, in the New World, wasn't it? So the Caribbean was after, weren't they?
That's a good question, man. I'm not even sure about that. I believe hold on. You talking about independent from a European nation? Yeah, they were. The U.S. was, and you're totally correct about that. Exactly. First independent. It's so funny how they call that, Nations of America. Let's see here. Yeah, it's the United States. Right, from Great Britain. Let's take a look at this too for a second.
I'll get the timelines and I'll put it in the back chat.
Yeah. Well, here you go. got a timeline here. Yeah, put that timeline up, and then I'll just throw this up here real quick. Then I'm gonna, after I take a look at this, I'm gonna switch over to another resource here. Yeah, here's a timeline right here. These are some political map of the Americas in 1794. So these were the United States was small at that time. You see that? Look at this. You see that?
Because was it Spain? Spain still had a part of it, and England had the East Coast and Canada. And
Right.
I think France as well was up in Canada as well, as they speak French is their second language, isn't it?
Right. French is their first language. No, it depends on what part. If you're in the eastern region, then the first language is French. If you're in the western region, the eastern region, the first language is French. If you're in the western region, the first language in France is English.
And also,
I mean, not France, in Canada. I'm sorry, damn,
Canada, and also you've got quite a revelation there. We've got Russia in there, and also we had the fur trade, which was also a massive trading before the sugar. So the fur trade.
Yeah, the Russians colonized North America first. I believe they're the first to colonize parts of North America. I believe so, bro. Yeah, very early on.
They're very close.
They had wars here with natives. They were trading with natives. Then they turned into war with natives. And that's also another kind of like misnomer, or a lot of people think Russia wasn't a colonizing nation, but at this time they were. And they were seen as colonizers. They were establishing treaties between different colonizing nations also that were involved in the slave trade. They weren't just bystanders, No. And in fact, they're up on the CARICOM list. They have some Russian ships that were transporting slaves as well. Not in the east part of the U.S. or west part of the U.S., but in the east part. So they have a presence on both sides, Right. But let me come back out of this one real quick and go down to that timeline real quick, because so people can see that too on here. Let me see. Here it is. Boom. This is that timeline.
Lovely.
For independence. You know. So, and it's also important to note that all of the U.S. didn't get, damn, what is this? They got Mexico here, 1810, right? Because that was Spanish before.
Yep, Texas.
Right. That was Spanish before, yep. Right? Exactly.
And then the French in Louisiana, the Louisiana Purchase.
1821. So yeah. So the eastern part of the U.S. was the first, and the western part, that's later, man. That's coming in later here. But check this out now. You see this? Is this gold, this yellow green part?
That's Alaska.
And you see this part right here too. You see?
Yes.
I'm curious about who this is.
Is that Newfoundland or no? That's just above the west coast there.
Of Cali. That's North California. That's not just North California. Part of that is like in it's Virgin on the Midwest too, but it's in the northwest. It's the northwest most territory of the United States today. That's Washington State, and some other states here.
Portland. Is that Oregon?
Portland. Oregon. Right. It must be Oregon. Right. Something like that, I believe. Here, let's see if they got some notes about that. Let me see here. Okay, no, that's just the map. But I'm going to go back here. Let me see. Let's see here. Okay. Except for Cuba and Puerto Rico, the Spanish colonies in the Americas won their independence during the first quarter of the 19th century. Okay. During the Peninsular War, right, Napoleon installed his brother Joseph Bonaparte on the Spanish throne and captured King Fernando.
Okay.
Okay, the crisis. Hold on, installed his brother Joseph Bonaparte on the Spanish throne. Okay, the crisis of political legitimacy sparked a reaction in Spain's overseas empire. Several assemblies were established after 1810 by the Criollos, Hispanic American term used originally to describe the full Spanish descent born in viceroyalties in different Latin American countries. The word has come to have different meanings, mostly referred to as local born majority. Okay. Latin America, who are of full, near full Spanish descent, to recover sovereignty and self government based on the Castilian law. To establish a uniform body. Okay. And to rule American lands in the name of Ferdinand. Okay. The experience of self government, along with the influence of liberalism and the ideas of the French and the American revolutions, brought about the struggle of independence led by the Libertadores. The territories freed themselves. These are the George Washingtons of the Spanish colonies. The territories freed themselves, often with help from their foreign mercenaries and privateers. The United States and Europe were neutral, yet aimed at it to achieve political influence and trade without Spanish monopoly. Okay, but let me just come down here. South America, Simon Bolivar and Jose de San Martin led the final phase of the independence struggle. Although Bolivar attempted to keep the Spanish-speaking parts of the continent politically unified, they rapidly became independent of one another, as well as several further wars were fought, such as the Paraguayan War and the War of the Pacific. South America, Paraguay, Argentina, Empire of Brazil. Okay, so this is south and east of what would have been Grand Colombia. So, right?
Yeah,
Isn't that right?
I need to put up.
And this is
Colombia.
right. And this is happening around the same time. This is happening around the same time, which is interesting. It's actually interesting here. And this is what they call it was the deadliest and bloodiest interstate war in Latin America. Now, I would be very surprised if there were also, if this is not having a lot to do with slave revolts, bro. I would be surprised
timeline on that?
because before when the timeline is is close. It's overlapping this. Well, as you see here, it says 1810. So that obviously is close to, this is after Haiti, right? Which is a revolt. And the breakup of the of Gran Colombia, which is northern South America, that is pre-Haiti, obviously, right? That's that's pre and it's overlapping. But let me just go to this. Hold on. Let me get a quick number for you here. Break up of Grand Colombia. Yeah, Colombia. Let me see here. That's 1831. It dissolved totally.
Right.
You see, so this is the same time period. 1831. Oh, so this is right after. So, you know what? I think we're gonna have to start.
Yeah, we can attribute that to the slave revolts. It's just not being seen as that way. It's being looked at as from a different angle.
Yeah, it's being looked at from a different angle, and let me see here. Maybe on purpose, but they definitely intersect. This is not a this is like the Spanish was in turmoil and the Portuguese apparently in turmoil, right? So hold on, but this is the dissolution in 1831, the beginning of the troubles. Public Columbia Congress, but not into well, the slave revolts, 1819. Okay, let me see here. Grand Columbia, greater. Let me just pull this one up real quick too, so y'all can see what I'm reading here. Sorry about that. Boom, because this I can just flip right back to this one. Grand Columbia. Okay, Colombia was a state encompassed by much of northern South America and part of southern Central America from 1819 to 1831. It included present-day Colombia. Okay, so okay, it included Colombia, Ecuador, the Galapagos Islands, Panama, Venezuela, along with parts of Peru, northwestern Brazil, and Guyana. The term Grand Colombia means greater, and Greater Colombia are used historiographically. Can you say, man? It's because I've been speaking another language. My English is
history. Historiography. That's a difficult word to pronounce. Historiographically.
Historiographically. Yeah, man, my English is getting bad, brother. Yeah, to distinguish it from the current, to distinguish it from. Wait a second. The term Grand Colombia are used historiographically, to distinguish it from the current Republic of right. Okay, which also the official
is a lot smaller than
right.
What it was.
Yeah, exactly. Grand Colombia, we're talking about territory. 6-7 nations, right?
And however, even goes into Central America as well.
Parts of Brazil, North territories of Brazil at one time. Yeah. Now, however, international recognition of legitimacy of Grand Colombia ran afoul of European opposition in independent states of America. Okay, Austria, France, and Russia. See, Russia was interjecting itself into these affairs.
Right.
Austria and Russia only recognized independence of the Americas if the new states accepted monarchs from European dynasties. You see that? Now, you see how Russia played into this? You see that? Well, this is colonization, brother.
Yeah, but under disguise,
that's colonial Russia. That's colonial
Russia. Remember Russia and all across Europe, they all were one family because the Tsar. Remember I spoke about that before. Mm-hmm. It was a queen's cousin. Even Germany, even Denmark, they were all families in Europe. So they're all a part of the same, even though they might not be the named person, they're all a part of the same unit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let me read this again. However, international recognition of legitimacy of the Grand Colombian state ran afoul of European opposition to the independence of states in the Americas.
Right.
Austria, France, and Russia only recognized
all of Austria.
Only recognized independence in the Americas if the new states accepted monarchs from European dynasties. In addition, Colombia and the international powers disagreed over the extension of the Colombian territory and its boundaries. So this, I mean, that's this. A lot of people don't want to. Go ahead.
We're sorry to cut you. We can see the politics has actually replaced the monarchies and done the same thing across the world, as we were speaking about yesterday. So where they wouldn't really have the monarchs, but they were still ruled by the either the political system, say the capitalism or the communism. So
Let me go ahead. Keep talking. I'm gonna go.
Still up till this day, as what we can see. That is a great fact there. So there's many other nations that could be caught up into this reparations deal. Because obviously,
definitely,
even Austria, all the monarchs basically. Maybe I'm gonna check the monarchs and put that in the back chat of Europe.
Now let me see something here. I was now before this, I was checking out. Right, here we go. Right here. Now let me go backwards now to the, is it the related process Central America, Greater Antilles? Okay. I'm trying to find this war we were just talking about in the South. The Peninsula War, right? Is that what it is? Portugal, United Kingdom, and the war, independent, Spanish War, independent, Castilian law, Europe, Bolivar. Let me see something, because we were just asking when did the
Grand Columbia break up?
right, and I believe here we go.
1831.
Revolt. Okay, this the Chilean. Okay, yeah. There's a lot of wars here going on. There's the Chilean War. There's the Peninsulan War. There's the Equatorian War in the 1800s. All in the 1800s. Around this time, 1809, 1810, 1813. All of this is war. To the 1820s. All of this is war. And you know what? It's interesting how there's not so many mentions about this, about slave, what role slaves played in the Brazilian part in these wars, Chilean part in these wars.
Yep.
Let me just let me pivot now. Let me see what's on the screen here. Grand Columbia was, let me pivot back to this article here real quick. Or actually I can leave this one open and do something else. Let me see something here. Slave revolts in Chile, for example. Okay, so the import of black slaves into Chile was a response to long-term population decline along indigenous peoples. Okay, because they was using indigenous peoples as slaves. Yep. Slavery was a legal labor form in Chile from 1536 to 1823, but was never the dominant way of arranging labor. Okay. Why do they say never? Slavery of black people bloomed from 1580 to 1660. Okay. Let me see something here. Right. Okay. But let me see here. But that doesn't, the timing, that's ironic because the timing doesn't match up with this, what we were just looking at here, the Peninsula Wars. Let me see here. During the Peninsula War, let me just click this. During the Peninsula War, let me see here. This is in Europe here. That's 1807, military opinion. Now let me go down. And what is the, go down here, Napoleon. South America. Okay. Spanish-speaking parts of the continent unified rapidly, independence. Okay, let me see here. That's 1864. That's late. War of the Pacific. Fought such as, okay. Further wars were fought such as, right. Okay, now the Mexican War of Independence. That's 1800s. Let me see something here. Spain, 1816. 1824. 1820. Let me go back. Okay, 1808. Oops. 1815. It's interesting how a lot of South America, you only hear about this. You only get these dates, bro, and from Colombia. You only get these slave revolt data from Colombia in South America. Why? Really? I'm serious. What? That's weird. Don't you think that's kind of weird?
There is not really. I wouldn't say that because it's got quite a big history of trying to whitewash out the black influence in those areas, especially like places like Brazil, and also Colombia, which have received a large amounts of slaves as well. They focus on the Caribbean a lot.
Oh, Jay, sorry, I know what you got to do. It's because you didn't when you logged in to StreamYard.
Yeah.
You have to say you want to join the chat. You didn't say you wanted to join the chat.
Yeah, but I don't know why. Let me try it. Should I go back out or? Yeah,
do that and try to log back in. Maybe,
okay.
And I think it might ask you that when you first type something. Now let me see something here. Slavery was legal. Were there slave? This is funny. Were there slave revolts in Chile? Oh, let me say in Bolivia. Let's try that instead. The new book, 500 Year Rebellion, tells a fascinating story of how indigenous Bolivians ride. I get it. So, let me see. Is Jade back? All right, let me see them. That's Jade. Yeah. Okay. Do you see the ad? Do you see that now? Let me see here.
Yeah, I'm gonna attempt to do it now and see if it works. Because I signed in already, so let's see if it asks me to sign in again.
Or to use the chat. I know when I'm logging into somebody else's live, it asks me if I want to use the chat, and then I got to press an extra button after I logged in.
Right.
So let me see here. All right. Okay. Between 1538, Guarani slave from present day Paraguay.
It's working now.
There you go.
Perfect.
Okay. Here, I think this is.
Would you like me to shall I start adding the stuff that I pulled up?
Yeah, exactly. Do that
while you're talking. Okay.
You know what? You know what, man? This is actually interesting. Now there's got to be a reason for that, but like you said, there must be some. There's got to be some. If let me just. All right, I'm gonna flip out of this for a second just to look at it from a different angle. Instead of looking at this, I want to go into the slave ship records. Let me see something here. Can you see this? Okay, let me remove that. Let me check this now. Right. Okay. Arrived at. Okay. Let me go back here and see what this said. Obviously. Okay. 1818. 6. 1818. Let me go to next. Next. Look at this, man. This is loads of ships, dude.
Wow.
Loads of ships. You know, this is another way to kind of look into it because then it kind of might be more detailed. Wiki obviously may not be up. I'm looking at Slave Voyages database. But okay, so that's 1821. So let's go back here. Now hold on. There's another one that I have. I'm gonna revert to that one now and see if there's any type of difference. Come out of this one. There's one more. Put this up here. Okay, let's go. Let's just call it the transatlantic one. Okay, yeah, this is looking different. So this is these. Now if I go to next. Now they're saying 1817, but okay, 1818. What do these? Let me see. 1850. Look at this. Rio de Janeiro. This is all the way up to 1850, bro.
Wow.
1850.
Yeah.
This is all the way up to 1850. Now, for some reason here, the earliest record is Mozambique to Bahia. But these are just the records, the actual people's names, the numbers, captives. You see here, like they have real numbers.
Yes.
The vessel name, so this is not to say that there's not that other nations haven't admitted to be, shipping slaves to other parts before this date. Obviously, they're having an issue with records from the 1500s. That's obvious. Apparently there's, or in this database, unless I'm doing something wrong let me see something here. Enslaved people, landing numbers, percentage, age. Look at this. This is great though, man. Dates. Let me go into dates, bro. 1500s, 1520, for example. Oh, here we go.
Wow.
Did I? It doesn't.
That's nice.
But it doesn't have no, this is nothing, man. It came back, the result came back as 0. So they don't have something back that far. Let me try this. Dates again. Let me say 1600s. Let's try that. Nope. So this database is not going back. But if I come out of this one, and then I go to, let me just go to this one now. See what CARICOM says on this. List of countries targeted for reparations. They have a list here, and they describe their database, and they have some dating here, I believe. Now, it's a government 2 through. You see this? Oh, this goes back to the Russian thing I was telling you about too.
Right.
Yeah, the records show in but this is 1838 voyage by the vessel Golubchik, flying the Russian flag, departing the port of Odessa and landing in Matanzas, Cuba, the same year with the cargo of 306 Africans who had survived the voyage from the original 340. Yeah, but Russia's detesting it. They're saying, "No, man, that's impossible." CARICOM, y'all don't know what you're talking about. Let me just come out of this one real quick and go back to this other one. Let me see something here. Boom. Go back into this database. Intra America. Okay, so the Intra America one is there now. Ooh. How come I can't see this, man? What is this? I have to do it like this? Hold on. I gotta shut this down and do it this way. Yeah, that's kind of problematic though. Like the people of the resources. I think it's okay. Well, it says 17. The earliest one is 1717. Is that it? Yeah. The earliest one is 1717. So let's take a look at that. Then the second one is, you got Jamaica, you got Cartagena, you got Barbados. Can you see this? Can you see this?
No, can you?
Okay, yeah. Sorry. Yeah,
That's
let me put that up. Boom. It's
so
this
Cartagena
one right here.
being Colombia on the coast where we looked at the epicenter.
Exactly. That's it. That makes it look you can see it a little easier now, right?
Oh no, that's in Cartagena in Cuba, Santiago de Cuba.
Oh, it's the Cuba. Yeah, it's Cuba. So this database picks up almost 2 centuries later from the first slave revolt. I mean, but still, this is still in the epicenter. This is still in the epicenter. This is still in the location of the epicenter. You know, as far as we could go back to 15. What is it? 15. Let me see. Where's the first slave revolt here? Let me see
14
here.
was it? Oh no, was it 14?
No, it's 1500s. First, first revolt. It's Santiago. It's 1520. The first one is in the 1520, right?
Wow, so that was really early on.
Yeah, Santiago, and that's in Colombia. That's and that's in that region is next to, if we pull the map up here, that region is right there where it says you see where Caracas is? That's Venezuela. Right. But if you go to the left, right, but if you go to the left of it, there's no, and go to the Colombian side, it's not too far from the
Caracas.
No, it's not too far from. Let me. You know what I'm gonna do? Here, I have the.
And we also remember that this map is a new map, so Colombia, Venezuela would have been. Would have been Colombia, wouldn't it? The Grand Colombia at the time.
Yeah, that would have been Grand Colombia at the time. That would have been Grand, but the actual location fits. Let me close that down and look at the bigger map. The actual location is here. Is I'm gonna bring it up on the map here.
It on the coast of Colombia, wasn't it? On the
see that this is Caracas. That's the Venezuelan side. It's here. It's closer to this area right here. Yeah, Santa. You see here? Hold on. Let me see that first revolt. Now let me go back and just do this. Make sure I get the exact right place here. Oh, what am I talking about? That's not it. Let me see here. It's not Santo Domingo. I'm tripping, man. That's Haiti. I'm in the wrong. That's Hispaniola. I'm sorry. Hold on. It is. How could I forget this just from yesterday?
Wasn't it near Barranquilla? I'm sure you said it was.
Yeah, it is. It was. It's Santa Marta. Santa Marta. That's what it is. Santa Marta. Yeah. And that is
might have to zoom in a bit more, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, you can't see that one? Okay, let me see. Let me come here. Santa Marta. There it is. Here's Santa Marta right here.
Okay. Right.
And that's at the you see now, that's next to Cartagena, which is a slave port, right? Now let me see. Let me come back here a little bit and see now if I'm correct. This is later. Now hold on. This is later. Sorry, this is not even the first one. The first one is even right before this in Colombia. So let me see. Let me go back here. It should be 1521, but let me see here. Slave revolts. 15. Here it is. Basilo. Palenque de Basilo that's, oh my goodness, man. Oh my goodness. This is this is early, man. Palenque de Basilo. What day this is? Look at this. After Columbus stepped ashore, 1492. Okay. Not to be confused with the ancient abandoned Mayan city. Souls an incredible number of achievements for. Where is this? The African king. Right. This guy has a long life. The one that we just outlined, his life intersects both of those conflicts. He was a major leader. So let me see here. Colombia, Cartagena, and the first slave revolt happened a decade later. So it's 1530. I'm sorry. That was correct. It's 1530 from this location here, Santa Marta. Right?
Right.
And it spreads. It goes around this area for a minute and spreads out. Right. And spreads out. So right, that would be boom. Exactly. So that's pretty much the epicenter. At this time, Venezuela didn't exist. That's part of Grand Colombia also. So, these locations, some of them may overlap, and some of them are very close to where the border of Venezuela today. Um, actually, so let me just pop back out of this one now and go back into the map. And so the map picks up here, man. I mean the database picks up here. So it picks up in Cuba, and that's late. I don't get it, man. I don't know why they don't have an earlier database. Okay, hold on. I see something here. There's a flaw. I was making a mistake, bro.
What happened?
This is not right. This is not all dated correctly. So it's not lined up right. You see, there's 1652. That's in Jamaica. There's 1659. You see that? There's 1664.
No, I can't see you. I
New
can't
York.
see it on the.
I don't have it up. Okay, let me bring it up. So
No,
let me.
I was just
yeah.
checking the ports. I was going to put that in the back chat, but let me jump back onto yours. Sorry.
Yeah, do that. No worries. I'm gonna.
So what was the date you just saw?
You see that? You see it?
Yeah.
The dates, they're not in order. They're not in order. Yeah. Let me make it bigger.
Is it alphabetical order as in the destination?
Let me press that. Aha, now we're getting better. So it starts at 1550. And this Venezuela would be Grand Colombia, brother.
At the time. Yeah.
Right. This would be Grand Colombia now. So this is the epicenter. So now we're getting, you see this? You see this, bro? Look.
Brazil.
So, yeah, exactly. Now, so the first, according to the data, the first arrivals were 1550, but we know this is not true. I mean, according to this database, what they have documented in data, like the names, how many people. Let's see. Let's check this out. Captives, for example. How many captives were there? Does it say? Look, see, sold slaves in America, subsequent fate unknown. It was a Caribbean colony, Venezuelan port. Year captives landed 1550. Total embarked 82. Total disembarked 80. So 2 died on that ship on that voyage. Source of the data. You see
Beverly's
this?
in the house.
Yeah, this is the source of the data. Oh, Beverly's in the house? Right.
Yeah, we got Bev.
And what I like about this database is it actually gives you the sources.
Yeah, that's great.
It gives you the sources. But let me check this one. Now this one. Okay, hold on. Bor Burata.
Where is that?
Let me check where Bor Burata is. Bor Burata. That's Grand Colombia, brother.
Right.
Let me come out of this epicenter map. Let me.
But this is the slaves that were actually coming there. This is not revolts. This is
no. This is the data. So while they're revolting, they still have actual. While they're revolting, they have
imports.
They're still importing, right? While they're revolting. This is Bor Burata. You see that?
Yep, in Valencia, modern day Valencia, but would have been in Grand Colombia,
right,
at the time.
Yeah, exactly. So, so we can go back now.
Your epicenter.
Yeah, that was there. So that's Bor Burata. That's interesting. Okay, now let me just.
I wonder what that was called in the days of Grand Colombia.
I believe it's called the same thing because obviously these are Spanish colonies. So this is still Spanish town, you could say.
Right.
There's still and obviously it's still there today, but let me check. That's a good thing to check out. But let me see here. Now this says.
Would you like me to check that?
Yeah, check that out.
Grand Colombia's map.
Let me just see here.
It's really unfortunate. I'm unable to post in the chat, for some reason. I can text.
Oh, really?
put in any links.
What browser you using?
I've got Google, Chrome.
Okay, damn, that's deep.
Don't know what's going on, but my laptop's playing up a little.
Venezuela, Colombia, Caracas. Okay, it doesn't say.
I'll put it in the back chat. Sorry, you're gonna have to when you finished. You're gonna have to. You got quite a bit. Sorry about that. So okay, I've got a map here.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna bring this up here too. I'm gonna open this one up here. Acosta Sunny. Revista de Historia. Venezuela. No, I'm not even gonna say Venezuela. Let me just open that up too. See what that does.
I think that part where you was talking about. No, that's Caracas. Would that have been Santa Marta? The same place that you had before?
Santa Marta?
Colombia? Yeah.
Okay, let me take a look here. Let me see here.
In the back chat, the Colombia.
Okay, let me see. I'm going to the map. You said Santa Marta? No, that wouldn't be Santa Marta. What did you say?
I was wondering if Barbaruta was Santa Marta.
No. Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna show you. I'll bring it back up on the map here. Let's see here. If you look here, you can see where Borburata is. Borburata, right?
Yeah.
Now that is on the Venezuelan side of Gran Colombia. But if you now go to the Colombian side, here's Santa Marta.
Okay.
So you know, Borburata is north of Valencia, and Santa Marta is here. So, but what is notable is that this is a port. Let me zoom in closer. Borburata is a port, and I guess they don't use that name anymore, bro. Let me see here. Let me go to this map here. This what does it say here? It says Borburata. Let me go back here. Borburata. Yep. That's right here. So if you zoom out, yeah, this is
that must have been the plantation.
Yeah, or I mean, I don't know how many miles away this is from the actual. Well, look, no, bro, no. This is it. This is this is this is the river. So this is the drop off point. This is the drop off point here. So yeah, exactly. So I'm curious if I type in slave revolt in Borburata. I'm sure it's going to come up with this in this same in this same history here of that leader revolt, slave revolt. Let me see here. Whoa. Okay. Why does that come up like this? This is a Busa Revolt. Look, how and why did the enslaved Africans of Barbados rebel in 1816? But this is, I'm just curious why they have Borburata mentioned in this. Because this might go back to like, my theory is that these people, you know, intersected. They not just like, they communicated with each other, you know what I mean, with the with the sale of slaves and things like this. Because now let's see, this is in Busa is where Barbados. Let me take a look at this map. Let me see.
And as you said, not because people couldn't read and write, people were clever. People had common sense. So if they might have seen if there was new slaves coming in, that ship comes from that area. He's speaking this language. John over there speaks that language. Let him talk to him. You know? You know, it's like when you meet someone, you can still conversate with them, even if you don't share the same language. You can hand signals, and you can show the marks on your back.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you see what I
Exactly.
mean? So a lot of there must have been a lot of communication, and a lot of the communication was silent anyway, because you didn't want the master to know. And also Shaka brought up a great point that maybe they heard the master speaking about it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
intercept the letters, you know, letters. Maybe they were the postmen. They had to bring letters and had a little cheeky look inside.
Right. Right. Exactly. It's true, man. And then also, I mean, the leader of that revolt, man, apparently he was being one of the leaders of this first revolt, apparently was being sent around,
Yes,
sold. He was being sold.
yeah.
The slave master's like, get this motherfucker out of here.
That was like the guy that went to the British Virgin, St. Thomas, which is now the British Virgin Islands, and then went to America. You said,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
can't remember his name.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Denmark Vasey.
Vasey. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
He was that he went to a few different he lived in a few different regions. Let me just now I put that there. Let me see something. Can I put a red on this? Let me change this color to red and then throw it up in there for folks. Yeah, I'm gonna change this map as we go along, bro. Like
Yeah,
straight up. And this now I'm gonna make this one a little wider though too. Let's see.
yeah. Maybe the thickness of the lines. I think that would
Yeah,
be
helpful.
yeah,
That
the
would be
pen mark.
helpful. Yeah. And I'm going to okay, so now I'm gonna update that. 1531. Um, you know what? I need to move that exactly to the location to Santa Marta. Let me see here. Look at the map again. Santa Marta, where is that at? Santa Marta. Okay, that's over here on the Colombian side. Santa Marta. Okay, that's right on that little tip there. All right, so let me look at mine. Let's see here. Right here on that little tip. Boom. Right there. And I think I'm gonna write Santa 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 Marta 15. Okay, so I'm gonna update the map real quick. Just to start with that one. Let me see. Oh, you know what you could do, Jay?
Yes.
I can also, if you want to show something on the
Oh
screen,
yeah.
I can add you too. That way, in case I'm being too slow, while I add this date
Um.
on here.
Okay. So you want me to have a look
This
and see what I pulled up and have a
uh
chat? Is
and
that present?
also yeah, also I can send you this database too. Let me see something here. Let me send you the let me put the database in the back chat so you have it.
Okay.
Because that's a really good resource
Yeah. Maybe I can
actually.
have a deeper look. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And just
Let me see
and
what I can uncover.
right. And if I come up with something, I'm gonna throw it in that
Okay.
y-
Perfect.
now let me see here. I'm gonna yeah, and when you're ready, you just say add screen. Let me update this map real quick. Um
1 second. I'm just gonna go to the
mhm,
Whiskey Charlie. Back in 2 seconds.
mhm. Okay, I see what I gotta do. Let me take this one off again. I need to make that a little bigger so folks can read it. Yeah, that's what it is. Oh, I can also add a little dot on it. Let's do that. Boom. There we go.
I'm back. Right, so what was that page you sent me? Oh, not that's not the one. Okay, it's up there.
Boom, there we go. Santa Marta, first slave revolt, and according to the data in American history. And I'm gonna add some more here. Let's see who else is in it. Oh, yeah. Hey, Beverly. How you doing, Beverly? Let me see here. Not going to be too long. My computer has some type of virus, and it's trying to make me pay.
Can we tell Beverly not to pay that? That's definitely a scam or something, VB. Or can you help
that sounds like a scam, Beverly.
Don't
sounds
pay.
like a scam. You don't pay $250 to get rid of a virus.
No.
But what I would do if you have Windows, I would revert back to the previously installed Windows. That's what I would try to do. Usually in Windows, I think if you got Windows
factory
10,
reset, is it VB?
No. In Windows 10, they have a revert back position usually. Right, and if you have a revert back position, then you don't have to reinstall anything in it, and it will remove anything that was not there before that date. You see what I mean? Or after that date, it will remove it. And so then you can, whatever new programs you added after that, you can reinstall them if you feel. Hey, Andrea, there you go. Boom. I see you. Okay, so
I'm ready to share my screen while if you... Oh, sorry. Yep.
There you go. Boom. I see it.
Okay.
I see it. So let me just take that off. All right, boom.
Is that me, yeah?
Yeah. Now let me just go to another. Let me see first.
Okay, so what have we got here? Let me go back to aha. Right. So if I get this a bit bigger so people can see, let's have a look.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you everyone thank you VB for having me up here today.
Mm-hmm. No worries, man. Thank you for coming.
So we've got 1717. We've got voyage IDs there. We've got principal places, Cartagena at the top, Santiago de Cuba, and we have 40 captives arrived at port. It doesn't say where they're from.
Yes, it does.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it does. It does. If you click, look, you don't have to click on it. Right. It should just look. Oh, no. It doesn't. It says.
No, it doesn't say.
You're right. It doesn't. It just says who the captains were.
So if on this one, the one that I've got up here, we've got the South Sea Company, and that says Great Britain. So we can probably locate that one to the west coast of Africa. South Sea Company, I might have to have a look and see, because the Great Britain were more into that area, wasn't they? And I didn't realize they had gone so far too.
I bet you if you Google that captain's name, all his voyages probably come up, man.
Yeah, South Sea Company.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me check that one.
South Sea Company. Now let me check one other thing here. Okay, so we go to this one.
So I'll share this one instead. So we've got the South Sea Company. Sorry about using Wikipedia all the time, but it seems to be. So we've got the South Sea Company. It was a British joint stock company. And to generate income in the 17th century, 1713, it was granted a monopoly over Asiento de Negros, which was a monopoly contract between Spanish crown and various merchants for the right to provide African slaves to the colonies in Spanish Americas. So there was a joint effort there.
They had to bid for contracts.
Right.
For contractual rights. Damn, that's deep, yeah.
And then this is to supply African slaves to the South Seas.
Mm-hmm.
And the South Seas most commonly refers to the portion of the Pacific Ocean south of the equator and South America. So not just South America, also the South Seas.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that is Hawaii, Polynesia, okay? Goes on to say that we have the War of the Spanish Succession, which was a European great power conflict between 1701 and 1714, just to put that in there. Became notorious economic bubble, and which ruined thousands of investors and became known as a South Sea bubble. So we're having like a problem there. I think that's due to probably the wars that were going on. There is a original flotation price, and government debts. So we've got a bubble act coming in. I want to get down to the areas where they were concentrating on. Speculations, flotation. You've got royal charters there, and that's from the Bank of England again.
Give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna be right back. Just gotta hit the gym. Yeah.
Okay, and so we've got the slave trade here. So we've got the Treaty of Utrecht, and the Treaty of Utrecht was a series of peace treaties signed between belligerents in the War of the Spanish Succession. Okay, right, and this was a war for the vacant throne of Spain. So European affairs affecting the whole world again. And we have Asiento de Negros, as we spoke about before, the contracts. Okay, so there was contracts out, so it was a business. Okay, and there was a monopoly on contracts between the Spanish crown and various merchants, and this was for the right to provide African slaves to colonies. And this is saying that it lasted 30 years. Okay, so you get a contract for 30 years to supply Spanish colonies with 4,800 slaves per year. Right, but I'm presume, even though you had a contract for say 4,800, who's to say you didn't take 10,000 slaves and sell that off on the side, right? Because these are not normal business people. I mean, they're not normal business. These people that were on the slave ships were unscrupulous characters, right? And so we got offices opened up in Buenos Aires, Caracas, Cartagena, Havana, so that's Cuba, Panama, Portobello. Not sure where Portobello is. So Portobello, we can see that's a port there with cannons, similar to Port Royal or any port that we have in the Central America. So that's in Panama, right? And we got Veracruz. And so that's in the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, so getting close to America. And we have one ship of more than 500 tons could be sent to one of these places. So huge vessels that could hold large amounts of, as they call it, stock, which I hate to use that word because it sounds like it's an animal, but we were treated as animals.
Exactly.
Right. So we got contracts there. I was just trying to find where they were getting them from. So we've got the Royal African Company. So these are companies that we really need to be looking into, because these are probably still trading now under different names. So you've got an English trading company established in 1660 by the House of Stuart and the City London merchants who traded along the West African coast. So we can presume that we've got a location now that West African slaves from the British. Okay, right. So we've got to supply necessary African slaves to Jamaica. So we have a contract from slaves from West Africa to Jamaica. £10 was paid for a slave. Slaves were not cheap. They were not a cheap thing. To to purchase. I mean, I'm not sure what the money would have been like now to the conversion, but it wasn't a cheap thing to do. But maybe they done deals. You could buy them by the bulk, and obviously it depended on the slave if he was fit enough after the journey, if he was strong, if he was. I mean, young children obviously were also looked on as something for people to buy to grow up, but also the physically strong man would be a prize, would be a top, would get the top figures. Females wouldn't normally get so much money for them, but they would also be used for breeding programs. Children would be a lot less, obviously, because of their age and because of their physique.
You know what? What's kind of ironic too, some irony here, is like it says that between 1540 and 1860,
right,
12 million, 5.5 million Africans were brought to Brazil to be slaves. And you would think they would have more mention of the slave revolts in Brazil. But there's little, bro.
Well, again, I'm just gonna make myself a tea. Again, VB.
There's a big
Brazil
disparity.
is quite a strange place because I find it a bit like a country like Argentina. They really try to whitewash the history of the country. You know, I believe that the British, for some reason, write down quite a lot of really damaging things. It's really strange how they write down so much. I don't know whether or not they're trying to emulate the Roman Empire and stuff like that. Also, they do write things in their favor. So not to say everything that they write down would be 100% true.
Right.
I believe, especially with the numbers of slaves and stuff like that, because up here we had I was just speaking about, I think you was using the John there, but we had a part here where you was only allowed to carry, say, 4,800 slaves. But who's to say that you didn't take 10,000? Here it is. You didn't
They're
take
breaking the rules, bro. You
Yeah,
know somebody breaking the rules.
they would do to make an extra buck, and also they were cramming in people into small areas, cramming in more people. Obviously, people that had to go overboard, that perished on the journey. So all of those have not been accounted for, maybe on purpose. I'm just going to fill up my tea with some hot water. 1 second.
Right. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So that's just one company we're looking at here. So that's the South Sea Company, which we've uncovered. And it's fair to say that they were using the West Coast, and they were in areas like Buenos Aires, Caracas, Cartagena, Havana.
Yeah, Caracas is Grand Colombia.
Right, yeah. And Panama, Portobello, which was in Panama, which I just discovered.
Yeah, that's also Grand Colombia.
It would have been, yes, because it stretched over into Central America. And we had Veracruz, which was in Mexico. So it's quite close to America.
And look at that year, man. Look at the year. What year does that say?
This
Veracruz?
year, this was in the
1713. Okay.
1713s, that is.
Right.
Okay. So we've got the Royal African Company, which is another company, which is again an English trading company. And that's established through the line of a monarchy, the House of Stuart, which is a well-known line of British monarchs. So that's what I found there. Is there anything else here? so we found out where they're getting them from, which was what we was trying to figure out. Because on this page here, it didn't specify the so let me see where Jamaica. Well, we could have said Jamaica would have been the same. Would have been English, so that would have been from the same West Coast. If we look at another, like say Colombia, we've got even Boston there. Let's see Boston, because so again we've got Great Britain here. The vessel name was called Desire. All right. And that was 110 tonnage. So I'm not sure the size of a 110-ton ship. What's a 110-ton ship? 10-ton ship. See if we can get an image of that. Is there any images there? So we're looking at a okay, so that's not very big, is it? Okay, so something like that. So that is quite a big. That's quite a big ship, isn't it? If that's 110 tons.
Yeah, that's a big ship, bro.
Yeah, man, that's a large ship there, isn't it? This one.
A lot of people can fit in that ship in the hull.
Can you see the? I don't know if that's people on board there, but you've got the hull at the bottom. That large thing that goes underneath the water, which is where the slaves would be kept.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Exactly.
So yeah, we have that. We've got St. Kitts there, Dolphin. So yeah, it's fair to say I think this one has got quite a lot of Great Britain here. VB.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, so that this page here. Sorry, share this one. Most of these vessels were British, but we got a few more pages there.
Oh, right.
So let me check on number 2. And obviously, I think the timeline would change as well. Yeah, so we're getting Kingston in there now. Caracal. We got New York. Should we try New York? Where 44 captives were brought there. And okay, so this is Spain. This is a vessel by Spain. And we've got a vessel owner, Joan Gallardo Ferrara.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the flag of the ship was Spain. Is that Spain to Uruguay? Or Spain or Uruguay? So is that going to Uruguay, was it? Let me see if that comes up with anything.
Yeah, that's in South America.
Yeah. Let me see. What's the vessel name? Saint Anthony. Saint Anthony. Ship. Saint Anthony ship. Okay, so I don't know if this is correct, but it says up at the top here that was a personal property of the King John III of Portugal, and the flagship of his fleet, and it was these were largest ships of the time. The first truly ocean-going vessels. So we're looking at the age of sail. So these were huge vessels, right? Huge vessels. We can see that I think it was wrecked as well. It was discovered. Is there anything? All right, so that's the so we found the ship. No pictures because I think it was. So that was from. Again, we was talking about where these ships were built. They were built in the European areas. So we've got in England. It looks like this is England, Cornwall. Yeah, Cornwall in England on the south coast.
Mm-hmm.
Again, along the always along the seaports, along the sea areas, and also the plantations would be in areas that were very accessible to the sea.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got, it used to go to Lisbon and Antwerp, so it used to travel around. So that's in Portugal, and Antwerp's in Switzerland. Oh no, Antwerp is in Belgium. Sorry. Okay, not too far from the UK. Right. So the Spanish were. Where were the Spanish getting their slaves from? Where were the Spanish getting their slaves from? I want to find out now. Because you've got Uruguay there. I don't know why it says Uruguay. Okay, so if I share this one,
I believe the Spanish, weren't they getting their slaves closer to the north? What is it, Ghana? No, not South America. I'm talking about Hold on.
or would they get? Where would let me try and see if I can find the Spanish. Where did Spanish buy their slaves? In Africa.
Good question.
In Africa, because Portugal would have presumed that would have been Angola.
Right.
So
the places they speak Portuguese.
That's correct, and also Brazil, but that was a drop off point. We want to find out where, so from Europe, we're going to get the triangular trade there. And so we've got a demand for African slaves was high, and it was controlled by the Portuguese. And this was on the west coast again. So primary, the source of the importation of human labor, our brothers and sisters, were from the west coast of Africa again, along the coast, not too far. But that's not to say these captives were not
some
from
nations. There's
inland.
some African. Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah. There's some African nations that speak Spanish, and I think that's pretty much what it is. And there's some West Africa. Yeah, man. I think that's where it would be. I don't have. I'm looking at one other thing right now, but I believe that if you say what African nations speak Spanish, you will probably find the result.
Okay. Let me put that in.
Yeah.
Spanish speaking Africa.
Right.
I didn't. Yeah, speaking Africa. I wouldn't say it's not possible. So can you see this? So this is saying Equatorial Guinea.
Exactly. They speak. They do. That's what I meant.
Wow, I didn't realize that. So you got Equatorial Guinea, and also becoming independent. So again, and not long ago, in 1968.
And some of these territories traded hands between one colonizer and another, just like the slave ports traded hands too. I mean, one person, one colonial nation could have started the slave trade, and they could have bought the rights and the buildings, the castles, the actual facilities from another nation, and then sold it to another. Like in the case of Ghana, I think Ghana, the slave ports changed hands like three times.
Yeah,
3 times. You see what I mean? So at one point, one is slaving and taking out slaves, then they sell it to another because maybe there's wars, they're getting their ass kicked. So they're like, I need to be out of here. And their way of being out and getting out is sell it to another European slave nation that says, you know what, we'll try our luck too.
Exactly. So we're trying to look at some so they got Africa before the I mean, it's not really looked into much, is it? The conditions in Africa before, because they like to use that as a kind of
we savages, man.
Yeah,
we don't have history.
Yeah,
so that's what that's the point of that. They don't want to show it because if we're not going to do it, brother, no one's else is going to humanize us. That's the thing about it, you know. So, and part of humanizing ourselves is telling our own story in a human way, like, you know, revealing the humanity in our history. You
Exactly.
know, you know?
I think they're going to touch on slavery in Africa here. So empires of Songhai and kingdoms of Mali and Benin and Congo. I think Congo's in Nigeria. Congo, or was
No,
that no? That was Congo in the Congo we know today was spelt with a K.
oh, that's well, that borders a lot of different nations, man. That's Central Africa. So
Central
that
Africa.
borders many, that probably has more border nations than any other African country, I believe.
Hmm. And we've got we've also got a nice part
It's a
here.
it's a generalizing term, really,
Yes.
because it's just something that they just use for a whole bunch of different tribes or nations, you know.
Yes.
Congo, you know.
Exactly. We were speaking about that yesterday about Nigeria having different, actually being different countries, different
Mhm.
nations within uh, an area that has been called Nigeria, which has been bordered off by
Exactly.
outer people, by European powers, and so we've got art and learning and technology which flourished and Africans were especially skilled in subjects like medicine, mathematics, and astronomy, which we
Hmm.
know from Egypt, which is a clear sign that we can see that, but also the sub-Saharan parts where you had places like Mali, great empires of Mali, Zimbabwe, Timbuktu, also even down to the south coast, the Sandsmen, who were very skilled in astrology, walking out into the barren deserts of South Africa where the Portuguese used to come. And
Hmm.
there was a story, I've got a book on early South Africa, where the Portuguese met these guys with entrails around their neck, small bodied men with roly poly hair kind of stuff, very light skinned gentlemen. And they were dying of thirst, and they would follow the Sandman into the desert, and he would use his stick and strike the ground, and water would sprout up. So a lot of skills, a lot of skills. Obviously, they couldn't communicate as well, and also they were very, very rebellious. Not to say that the Sandsmen. There was one report of one being brought to Portugal. They dressed him up in all the Portuguese clothes and brought him over there to show the crown, to see, oh, look what we have here. Look what we have found. We found this person. Look at him, and he's dressed up in the Portuguese wear. And then on the route back to South Africa, he's jumped off the ship before it's got near to the coast, right, in the dangerous waters on around the Cape Horn, swam to the beach, ripped off all the European clothes, and ran
Oh,
back.
really?
Yeah.
Where'd you get that? Who is that exactly?
Let me get my book out. Yeah. I've got a book on South Africa. It's an amazing book.
Hmm.
So 1 second, you might have to take control while I
Okay,
also
no worries.
yeah. So I'm gonna find the book. So yeah, this story. Let me find the book so I can give everyone the book's name and stuff like that.
Yeah, do that.
Is that okay?
Yeah, no worries. Do that.
Okay.
I'm gonna check something out here.
Oh, did I put it over this side? I've moved my stuff around so much. It's a huge book, and I used to read it when I was at work on night shifts.
Hmm.
It's a really thick book, and it goes through all the early interactions with the Portuguese, and also goes into the Dutch. But there's even it shows like the barbarity as well of these people that were on the ships. These people were really savage. What they would do once they got to the coast and they saw the people, they would grab a child and dangle the child by his legs, and the whole say the whole community would fall to their knees, because in their society, in their way of life, children were adored, and to see something like that so barbaric, people would automatically just submit to, because they'd never seen something so shocking, you know. And these guys would just be dangling a child by the arm.
I think. Go ahead. I'm listening. Sorry about that. Go ahead. Keep.
Yeah. And sorry, I'm just reliving what I was reading, but I'll definitely I'll find the book, and I'll let me see if I can find it online here. But
you see this?
Okay. Sorry. Let me go back.
This is why there's not a lot of you know, why you don't find out where Spain was getting its slaves from, or you know, they weren't necessarily getting them themselves. They were buying them from other colonial nations, other slave, you know. So if Denmark, like, you know, when you look into the history of the Danish slave trade, part of it, Denmark was one of the first to get involved in the slave trade, but they're also one of the first to finish. But when they to disband it, but when they disbanded it, those private companies that were Danish, those transport companies, they continued, a lot of them, and what they did was just transport slaves for other nations.
Right. Yes.
You see,
they had the vessels.
Right. So they weren't allowed to sell the slaves, but there was nothing stopping them from necessarily. They were either going under the radar or going between the law.
Sailing under the banner, or joining an English outfit. Say when the Danish stopped doing it, they just, a bit like what they call it in the military.
No, not. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I think it might be the opposite, because what happened was that when the Danes abolished it, right, they became neutral. So people weren't attacking them. You know, other colonial nations weren't after the Danish ships. You see what I mean? Because everyone knew that, okay, they've disbanded it, right? But under the guise of being neutral, they're still transporting them, which is so it's kind of like they went into they became semi-neutral, you know, to I think that's how they kind of, I guess you could say, manipulated the law or slipped between the law. But it's important to look more into that, to be sure. But go ahead, bro, because it is a lot of details there, you know, with all these nations, of course, man, all of them. Oh, and by the way,
I'm gonna have to get back.
Let me put this link in here for you too, because I just got this resource here that I'm not sure. Is this it for you? Where is this at? Discover the World Research Gate. Is it here? Right. Let me put this. You can also download this one if you want. I can. Let me see here. I'll put this in the back chat. Boom. Boom. Yeah, this book. Oh, 2 seconds. Let me answer the door. Sorry about that.
Okay. Yes, I found the book here. And the book's called Frontiers. So I'll Frontiers. The epic of South Africa's creation and the tragedy of the Xhosa people. By Noel Mozart. So when VB comes back, so I can share it. Oh, sorry, am I still sharing? Sorry, guys.
Go ahead. You can share it. Go ahead. Share it now.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Is it sharing now?
I'm.
There you go.
Okay, so this is the book. Okay. Yeah. This is the book. So we've got Google Books. I wonder if that will have something there. So yes, this is one of the books I've read in the past. Okay, and it really goes into deep interactions with of the European powers and our brothers and sisters, but this is on the in the southern part of Africa. So the first contact in southern Africa between the sailoring white men of Europe and black African people occurred on the 11th of January 1498, when Vasco da Gama's squadron anchored once more for fresh water, this time far up off a small river which has been tentatively identified as In Harim, and that's south of Cape Corinthe in Mozambique.
Oh, this is the book you're reading right here? There's also people?
Yeah.
Tragedy of There's Also People. Okay, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Yeah. That's okay. Maybe I'll
it's just because I can't see what you were reading. That's all.
Yeah, I was reading from the book. I'm trying to wonder if I can get up. Maybe if I show the image of the book. Shall I just keep reading and I'll
yeah, you can't share the actual, you can't share the screen or what you're reading?
Oh no, I'm reading from the actual book.
Oh, I got you. Sorry. There you go.
Sorry. Boom. So I won't read long, but so we have, after leaving Salbras, the ships had battled against the strong Agulhas currents through offshore waters that are still among the most dangerous in the world, capable of breaking up super tankers and severely damaging large liners, right? And also this was the discovery of Brazil as well, because when they had to because the Cape down by the south of Africa was so dangerous, and the when they found out about the trade winds actually brought them all the way down near enough to Brazil and swung them all the way around into the Indian Ocean on the other side of Africa. So that was how they kind of found Brazil as well. So that's why Brazil also became a point for them to be letting slaves off. So they found, they passed the day. So on Christmas Day, they named the green hilly shoreline along which they were sailing Natal. So the name Natal was all the way back from around 1498, when Vasco da Gama squadron appeared on the scene of South Africa. Okay. And there was these Boa Genta, BOA Genta, GENTE, were Bantu speakers. Bantu being an academic term first used in the middle of the 19th century. Okay. And they the people occupied 1/3 of the continent and who spoke 450 related languages. How about that? The many cultures and physical types distributed from just above the equator to all the territories below it. So from Central Africa, where we were talking, all the way down, we had Bantu people there of various physical and cultural and linguistic differences, and
Mm-hmm.
culturally as well. And so we had the Bantu is a Oxa Zulu, a word that simply means people, a Bantu, and the plural Umtu means man.
Mm-hmm.
Umtu means man. Okay, so there was a fascination there, they're saying, with the people, obviously, because they'd never seen people like this in this sort of stature, the way that they were dressed, they were very, it was a eye-opener for the heavily cladded military men that were in front of them from the Portuguese,
Mm-hmm.
with huge swords and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a little part of the book there. They say that they had remarkable physiques and health, and were more splendid looking to European eyes than any other race so far encountered outside Europe. Okay,
Damn.
so yeah, so there was so they were sort of eyeing them up from that day, and
Right.
obviously seeing how skillful these people were, especially with the way that they were with their environment, and that kind of was their demise, because they didn't really understand who they were, who these people actually were. If they, I mean, I always felt if they had really just
They
not
they didn't
allowed,
understand their goal, what their purpose
no,
was. Yeah.
they were
Yeah.
crafty. They were so these
Yeah.
were heights of criminality here.
Yeah.
These,
It's a different type of thinking. A
yeah,
different type of thinking, like which people have. I mean, there is based on their geographical location and resources. The climate, resources. I mean, to be European at that time, you can't. That means you're resource hungry.
but they
You're
were,
you're also the geography and the weather. You know what I mean? The climate. Puts you at put you out there for the elements. I mean,
yeah,
your life, very life. So you have to kind of think a little bit differently. When you approach things, and then in Africa, there's a vast abundance of everything, and the geographical environment wasn't so violent. So you're not coming with the same level of craftiness to the
no.
table, really. You're not suspecting
Well, as you said,
in
greatly
the
said
same
as
manner.
well, VB. These guys were experts in war because the whole of Europe were warring.
Yeah, they
They
were
were all,
warring already. They were
yeah, they
already
had
there.
from and learned all the crafts from Egypt in wars and from Rome, the remnants of Rome. Then you had the Dark Ages. Then you had so Europe was
They were fighting over resources. They've been fighting
right.
over
Yeah,
resources too ever since,
right.
from
Ever
from
since.
day one, basically
Yep, and even
fighting.
till today. And as we
Yeah.
can see, like places like Nigeria, how they have been affected by this, and how some people might have the view that why would you want to, why are you here, kind of
Hmm.
thing, but not understanding the dynamics of this thing. This has been created by the Europeans. That the
Hmm.
very fact that they have this in their thought to leave their own country is by the European. Okay, and as we were
Oh,
speaking about yesterday,
check this out. You see where it says between 1490s and the 1850s,
yeah,
Latin America, including the Spanish-speaking Caribbean and Brazil, imported the right, because they're talking about under Portuguese and Spain agreement, right? But check this out here. You see what that says?
you on
And,
StreamYard? All right.
right. You know,
Zoom in.
can you-
Yeah,
should I make it bigger?
if you may. Yeah, yeah.
You see that?
Lovely.
You see that? And
So there's a
when the
different time.
Portuguese when the Portuguese ceded the Canary Islands to Spain under the Treaty of Alcacovas in 1479, Spain recognized Portugal's right over Cape Verde. You see
And
these
that's it.
areas, and that's the beginning. The treaty, you see, this is
Yeah.
essentially They're cooperate. Yeah. So Spain and Portugal, they've cooperated. They've had these treaties in these days in Europe from the very beginning, and then later in the Americas. A lot of Portuguese territory was ceded, or not territory, but business had been
Yes.
ceded from the Portuguese to the Spanish, and
then to the British, when the British beat the Spanish.
right, exactly. I just
You
thought that
see,
was an interesting note, so I'll just go back to yours
perfect.
there.
Yeah,
There
that
you
was
go.
great.
Yeah.
That was brilliant. And so what we've got up here, so we've got the pivotal moment in the transfer of African people. Okay, and it was a transformational time.
Mhm.
Okay, so this really propelled the nowadays what we see as these first world countries as we see them today. This propelled them. This was the major propeller that propelled them to the steel age, which was what they like to look at, the manufacturing. But it started here with the transportation of our brothers and sisters, which gave them extreme wealth and also access to areas of the world, as you said, resources, okay, and also the labor, the access to people, to be put into bondage, okay, stripped from their families, taken to very far places.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, and the money that they must have made was, I mean, it's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. So we've got over 1 million blacks and mulattoes in the region were freed men and women, and it is to say that some of them also had slaves, which is a fact. Is a fact. Some did, not many. Some did have slaves for themselves. If that's true or not, or maybe it's just another way of trying um, uh, to kind of say, well, you did it as well, so we can do it, kind of thing, to kind of shift the blame. Okay, so that has been said in certain circumstances. Okay, we also got the impact of religion as well, legal codes, market economies, and the demographic impact on the native populations that were there. So we have when Spain were in rule, they made vast amounts of booty from the Mayans, and that was mostly gold. So Spain was mostly driven by gold.
Right.
Eventually would be robbed by the British, who were supported by Queen Victoria, or Queen, I think it's Queen Victoria the First, the queen that didn't have any children. So she sent out pirates, which ultimately would come close to my home, one of my homes. My Africa is my home, but also Jamaica, where Port Royal was another place where we must have a look into as well, at some point. Also, we've got the substantial mixed race population, okay, that came into effect. Also, the treatment. The Portuguese apparently were less barbaric than the Spanish, yet still they were barbaric people. The Spanish were barbaric, but none of them was as barbaric as the British. The British rule on slavery was a barbaric one that has never been seen before, and was also used to in World War II, especially, to kind of say, well, here, look what you used to do. So how can you complain about how we're treating people here when what you was doing to the black race in your time in charge, when you was the biggest empire in the world? And I mean, I think Britain, up to this day, was the largest empire ever. I mean, it stretched across such vast parts of the globe, and still does have clutches on these places up until today. So
Facts. Yeah, this is like 500 years, man. It's interesting.
yep, 500 years, and this is where I have my contention with people about slavery. I have people from mixed race parentage who sometimes will say, "Well, Jade, white people were also slaves at some point," and I totally understand that. But what I always will stand by is that nothing has happened to any race of people like what happened to the sub-Saharan Africans, as in the 400 years of barbarity, also the loss of education and a rise of different people genetically, with mixing of races, and the general trauma, psychological, physical damage that has happened. And it's for the time frame. This is 400 years. This is not 40 years. This is not 4 years. This is 400 years. This has not happened to any other nation, and this is why we're faced with being at the bottom, because we are now have to be starting from ground zero. Okay, we've spoken about how France used to at least leave buildings up, so you can go around and see the architecture of France and Spain. Especially in Jamaica, you can see places like in Spanish Town, you can see the Spanish architecture. Okay, especially like Brazil and places like that. Also, obviously, Cuba has a heavily architecture of the Spanish, but the British used to build the plantation houses, obviously, and stuff like that, but everything else was destroyed. When they left Jamaica, they left them on their knees. Okay, people that didn't have a life in the first place, but really didn't have a life once the ships had left them for dead. Okay, the people had no way of making a life for themselves, no idea how to. After 400 years, come on, how could you? So that's my little part on it, VB. I've got a few other little websites up here. I don't know if I should jump over to another one. I would like you to come and speak as well.
Yo, check this out though. It was one other thing. I stumbled across here. Let me put it up here. It was along with the prelude, essentially, to the what is it? Is it the Spanish? Yeah, the Spanish and the Portuguese transitioning, which is the prelude, the sale of the Canary Islands and this stuff. It was the prelude to them coming to the U.S. Right now, but they did in fact import slaves into Europe first from Africa. There's a small period there, and
yes,
this book that I'm reading here is called "From Capture to Sale." From capture, from capture to sale. Sorry about that. And it has some interesting facts in there too. Like for example, it says the first African slaves to be transported by the Portuguese, right, to the Iberian Peninsula were imported to the Algarve from Mauritania by the Lagos Company in 1444, and that precedes if I'm correct here,
the Atlantic slave trade.
Right, when the Portuguese ceded the Canary Islands to Spain under the treaty. Right, exactly. Right.
You're exactly right. The Portuguese, as I spoke about, I'll have to find the part in the book. It's such a big book. I don't think I've bookmarked it, where they actually took one of the guys off from the community and started teaching him on the way back, Portuguese ways, and actually brought him to Portugal, and he was a bit like in even Queen Victoria, they brought back specimens, as they called it, to places like that and showed off what they could, like the gold, the sugar, tobacco, the tobacco, and stuff like that.
Opportunity to examine the goods first, to examine the product.
This is what we can get from here. Look at this.
Exactly.
Have you ever seen someone like this? And obviously, it's like a bit like a zoo. These people were still coming out the dark ages. Okay, they were very limited. They didn't travel. Okay, you see
this right here. The Canary Islands is essentially what and Cape Verde, it's essentially what the Caribbean was,
right?
To America. The Canary Islands was that for Europe. In preceding America, you see, it says here, initially the main centers of trade in Africa were, this is by Spain and Portugal, right? Being used as collection points for slaves from neighboring coasts as far as the Congo. As early as 1500s, about 2,200 slaves were being traded annually on the West African coast, the majority of whom came from Upper Guyana, right? That's what we're talking about, that Spanish area. The early 16th century saw the first French and English. And later the Dutch began to challenge Portuguese dominance in the trade. Meanwhile, the supply of slaves from Congo dried up as the kingdom was torn apart by civil wars, despite the military campaign by Paulo Diaz in 1570. This sounds remarkably similar to what happened in the Americas.
Yes. It's the same tactic
and pattern. Yes. Breaking up of nation, and it's almost sure that these wars are what's behind the wars. You see, it says, meanwhile, the supply of slaves dried up from the Congo, from Congo dried up as the kingdom was torn apart by civil wars. But what's behind the civil wars?
Well, these slavery? Guys, partly? Slavery, and also the application of arms. These guys mostly were fighting with, say, maybe bow and arrows and stuff like that, swords. Conflict was dealt with, so there was less casualties. So when they now were given things like guns, the rifles, the early rifles that was also used around that time in the Civil War, the ones that you had to poke down the gunpowder and all that kind of stuff. So obviously now certain communities were now had weaponry, and also what they were, as you said, what they were doing, they were very crafty. They were arming one, and then when that one would attack another one, then the other one would come and say, "Oh, well, where do I get those weapons from? Oh, you got to get it from me," and have people just killing themselves, which we can even see still happening to today. Most of the weapons are made in Europe. Another show I would like to do as well with you, VB, on the on gun crime, and like countries, say like Switzerland and stuff like that, who are major suppliers. France, major suppliers of arms. The UK, Russia, who are major suppliers of weapons, but their murder rate is so much less than countries, say, for example, Jamaica or parts of, say, Sudan, for an example. So we're still definitely under the mental, it's really disturbing, that we're still practicing these ancient warfare tactics that have been put on us from the Europeans, and there's no way of getting over that. No way getting over that. I even stated still to today, the black man can hold his head high. He's never planted a bomb on any other nation, and that will always be on the top of these people's heads, man. Like nuclear warfare and stuff like that. you know,
Mm-hmm.
and the black man can
It's
hold his head high.
it's really I would really like to get in contact with CARICOM and find out what their data looks like. Because, you know, as you can see here, it says slave arrivals in the Americas 1500s to 1870, right? This is supposedly a table, right? But then it has Spanish America, Brazil, West Indies, British North America, which is that we're still talking about, you know, we're still on the same topic here, you know, that region. But look at the numbers start at 1601, 1650. It doesn't go, and I'm just curious, like, why is it they can't get the data from the 1500s? What were they doing differently about it? Like,
Well,
or is it, what's different? Because we're still talking about crown. We're talking about the crown. We're talking about kings and queens in this period anyway. So what's the difference?
Different nations, I think. It just shows you how different they are. I mean, I don't know why the British actually come out with a lot of the stuff that they do. Could they actually write down?
This is not only British data. I'm pretty. This is not British data. This is, I'm not. And in fact, well, are you saying that this data is reflective of the British participation?
No. What I was saying is,
because look, it can't be, because look, it's talking about British North America. I'm not suggesting that this data is coming from British ships, but it's just when they don't seem to be there until 17. You know, there's no data coming from you know, that's cited here for British North America until 1701. So I'm like, and they weren't the first at all. They weren't early. They weren't their pioneers of this. So I'm just like,
but there's not many records.
Well, there's some numbers here. There's numbers, but and if you go over to if we go over to the other database, right? Because this is a database and this is a book. It has tables. It's not a database. But if you, for example, flip back to this one, let's see here. If you, for example, flip back to where were we at here? Let me see. Is it this one right here? Intra, right? Boom. Here, you see, it starts at 1550.
Yes.
It doesn't say the captain's name, but 1561 it does say, and that's Portuguese. These are Portuguese. I looked this guy up, Bias Pedro. He's also mentioned in the book I was just showing. Gomez and Antonio. I mean, but in any case, you know, these are not British ships. These are not British captains, as you can see.
Yeah, but if you click on them, click on one of them. They are, though. When you click on them, VB, you click on some of them. Some of them are not, but some of them are.
Which one? Which one is it?
That one that you got you've highlighted.
This one?
Buenos Aires. Yeah,
this guy's not
okay, so that says Spain. Okay.
Right. Okay. Flag vessel, exactly. So
okay.
And I'm just suspecting, I mean, you know, it doesn't say the vessel name here, but so they wouldn't have the flag, right? Right. They wouldn't have the flag. Like if I click here, you don't see a flag vessel. You see? No, it says Portugal. No, it does. Yeah. You see? So all this early stuff, this is Portuguese and Spanish, bro.
Yes. Yes.
You won't. I mean, I'm talking about. Well, it doesn't say the flag vessel here. It says the vessel name S1. Got to look that up. But let's say if we go, I don't see Britain. If I'm right, I don't see Britain.
The first page was Britain.
The first page? Nah. First page ain't Britain, man. Yeah. This is too early.
Check the Bocco Borboreta one.
Check that one. Let me see here.
This one said, because I think that was the page I was on. Oh right,
Portugal.
so what page was I on?
Yeah, but the date tells you. The date is not. It can't be British. It can't be. You know, that would be almost unheard of. Yeah. But let me see here. But if I go, let's say to the, I'm just curious about why the records aren't kept so well for the 1500s, as
Right.
they are for later.
Well, let me have a look. Let me while you're looking at that, let me check why it's the record keeping in, is it the 15th century?
You can see this is Spanish because this by the Ciervo Negro. That's the vessel's name. I mean, this must have been explicitly Africans. Explicitly for they just called the ship Negro.
They don't
They
muck
waste
about,
any
do they?
time. We're not transporting sugar. We're not transporting. Now look, now we might get up here to British. Okay, no, this is still Spain, but look, they dropping slaves off in New York, bro. Spain is dropping slaves off. Look, now captives were purchased. They were purchased. Now, see, this is cool about this database. They're purchased in Jamaica, and
Right.
they're landing in New York.
Yes.
So a lot of them FBAs up there in New York. Nah, I'm joking.
Don't say it.
It's 44 of them that need to start looking into some stuff. No. Well,
Well,
no, I'm just joking. You gotta.
Yeah, vice versa as well, you know. Vice versa.
All right, this is Britain. This is Britain. So you see 16 in the 1600s, Britain starts coming into there, and then you will see these destinations turn to the US as well. So even if it's not a British ship, somewhere in this time frame are the British ships emerge too.
Right.
So Spanish ships are selling slaves to the American colonies, and British ships are. Now, let me check. Now, this one, it says it flat out.
I don't know
Okay,
how you got that. So I've got the 17th century here. How did you get?
You gotta press on date. Go to the top and press year arrived, and then it will start from the beginning. You know, earliest date to the latest
right. I'm with you now. Sorry, right. I was on the I was in the 17th century. My bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's how. Thank you for clearing that up. That was some misinformation there. Sorry about that.
No worries. And then I had the same problem when I first. Now see, this one is Great Britain, Scottsboro, Edmund, vessel owner. Okay, this one's Great Britain. That would be. Is it? Which one was this? Was that this? Is that this the one I opened up? Yeah. Okay. So Virginia port unspecified. But if I go to this port, right, that's Great Britain too. Okay, and that port is the vessel name is Swallow. Okay. Yeah, this is late. This is So the British. Yeah. Okay. Any case, man. I'm just curious about that. All right. Let me go back a little bit. Yeah, man. I think I'm gonna shut down soon. But this has been interesting, and then pick back up on this after I examine some of this data.
Sure.
And see and then I'm also gonna try to update the map a little bit more the further I get into some of this data. The more I get into the data here, let me see. Okay, so this is 1600s. Let me see something here. 12. Okay, right. You see the transition in the locations? It changes a lot there. So this is the turnover point, 1631. Let me see something here.
There's quite a few. There's Argentina there, Buenos Aires.
Right. It's all going from South America to, and then it moves into the Caribbean, and North America, pretty much. Like, see here, you see, boom. Right. It's overlapping here. See, Cartagena, but now we got Virginia. You see, we got British Honduras, so that's obviously. Let me click on that and see. No, that's Spain, but today is British Honduras. But obviously, let's see this one. This is Great Britain.
Spanish,
you see?
Don't they?
Yeah, this one right here. Yeah, they do. This one right here is Great Britain.
Right, so Virginia, yes.
Yeah, so in this database, they're entering around 1637.
Okay.
Roughly. Yeah.
Right, okay.
And see if you go back.
They were later on. So it's fair to say it started with the Portuguese, the Spanish. Oh, well, even you said the Danish as well. So there's
The
In the
Danes,
early
and
days.
this is another interesting thing here. You don't see so many. The Danes were before the British. So where? But see, what I heard is that the Danes, they didn't have so many islands, but they were doing a lot of transporting. But
Right.
wouldn't their ships come up in this? Because this is a ship database, a captain database.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. That's kind of weird how you don't see. You
Well,
don't
maybe we
see.
can have a look at that next time. We can search for Denmark more.
Yeah, they have to be. Matter of fact, if I go up to here and I say, yeah, let me see tables. There we go. I mean, this is damn, dude. Look at this. These are some big numbers, brother. This
Wow.
is another feature in the database. The
Oh, so
tables
the
here.
numbers are jumping up, aren't they? Going into the hundreds
Yeah,
of thousands. Yeah. This is the
yeah,
British
yeah.
times, huh? This is
They
the
they
British.
peak out with the British. Yeah, it's peaking out with the British here, something like that. 160. You see, 1776. This is like the introduction of the this is right after the
Atlantic.
Civil War, bro.
Right, right.
This is American. Let me see something. 1776. If I'm correct, DC was that was what is this? Who's the president right here? Hold on. Who
Was it
is
Washington?
Thomas Jefferson?
Ah. Well, he had slaves, didn't he?
Hold on. Let me. No. What am I talking about? That's wrong. Who is the damn? Hold on. Let me see this. You.
What year are you on?
I need that. This is
1776.
that's George Washington, bro. And I was right. I don't know what the hell's wrong. Why I pulled up somebody else, but after the U.S. declared independence from that's the Independence War of Independence. So that's George Washington. That's
Right.
what I wanted to touch on just to make sure. Yeah, I mean that's a big moment in history. So it peaks right there, bro. Isn't that interesting? That's an
Yeah.
interesting fact there. I mean, at least according to this database.
Well, the tobacco, and obviously these were well established by now, and the routes as well were well planned out. It started to, they were more comfortable because they've had how many 300 years,
Mm-hmm.
200 years to practice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the emerging, as you said, like the emergence of America as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have another massive market there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the Articles of Confederation are being drawn up. This is like U.S. milestones right here. Founding of the United States of America. That 1776, and that's a interesting. But not that. I mean, it's if you think about it, it's not that crazy. But look, this is definitely mainland North America, and those numbers increase.
Right.
You see,
Yes.
that's what this is. These numbers they increase right here.
And they increasing a lot. From
This
16.
you see, this is all of them for that year, right?
Right.
Oh, this is if you look right here, this is the US right here. And it peaks right here. It peaks at this date around that time, right? 17. This is just before the war, Civil War.
Okay.
Right? But in the Caribbean, it peaks too. It doesn't peak yet in the Caribbean. You see? So slavery, transportation of slaves is still going on. It drops for the US in half. According to this database, it doubles in the Caribbean. It doubles or more in the Spanish mainland Americas. Brazil, these records can't be right. You know,
No,
they can't just be 000. So
no.
we can leave that out of it.
Well, that means that they've got no records of it. So, or they
But
won't
look, but check this
they
out.
won't release them.
But check this out. Look,
What about
but,
Africa?
but then it
Oh,
hops back up, bro. Look, but then it hops back up.
okay, and yes.
In 1826,
Whew.
this was a big year for U.S. mainland North America slavery transportation.
But this is coming up to the end of slavery as well. So, which
Yep.
did happen when the abolitionists were coming in, and they found out that maybe slavery wouldn't be going on any longer. They started to, and also they were still trading after the abolition of slave trade, but under quiet, weren't they? But that would have been one of the factors why.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Right after this, right after, I guess that you could say in 1865, something like that, the abolition of 13th Amendment.
It was around 1850, yeah.
Yeah.
It started like 30 years. There was a time around 30 years it went on for, but there was, I think,
but there's a
around,
lead up to it. There's a lead up to it, and this is the lead up, right?
Yeah.
This is
Well, it was
the conversation was happening
It was
here.
made law, and then even about 30 years to 100 years after, it still carried on. I'm not 100% sure, but look at that. That's a good one.
You see this? This is another interesting feature.
Yes, sir. Wow.
I don't know why.
12,000.
Let me see something. Yeah, there we
And
go.
that's just one voyage, is it? That's a year.
No, this is different. This is from 1500s. You see, this is the visualization. It starts here. Starts here, and it builds its way up. You know, this is according to the data. So in reality, I mean, there's reasons why it goes up and down, because there's slave revolts here already happening upon the arrival, damn near. You know what I'm saying? Or after the arrival, a few years after the arrival, maybe what you could say 30 years after the arrival, there's abolition, right? 1550, that's here. Even here, there's abolition, right? So or there's revolts, slave revolts. That's in South America, and then 1800s. Look, it's at its peak. It's here, but this is according just to this database. So we don't want to, look at this shit, captain and crew. Oh, damn, that's deep, y'all. Timeline. Okay, this is a good database, though, bro. So, in any case, let's come back to this. Yeah, let's come back to this, man. Yeah. I appreciate it, man.
Look at that.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, look at that, VB. Look, it's showing you where you were saying as well, your epicenter.
Exactly.
Nice.
You know, look at that, and you see the date changing.
Yeah, and you can see Brazil, and even further down to Argentina. You can see they're transporting from Brazil to Argentina.
Yep. And it would be great if you get a interactive map like this, animated map with the slave revolts. That would be nice.
That would be fantastic.
But this goes over 200 years, man. This goes over 300 years. 300 years of this. I'm talking about the map, you know, what they're showing you now, the interactive or the animated map. And look, you can see it's increasing, dude, to America, like ship. This is according to the database we just looked at.
Yeah, I'm going to film that, and I'm going to, I can do a video, can't I? Or you could even do it, I suppose, but maybe if I did it on a live,
you could do that.
Square, that is amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing. Just do a live.
Yeah, if you could do that, VB, yeah, maybe on a live, you could have that, and then just film it, and then we could just release that one as a video, isn't it? And title it wow. That's amazing. And look at it. It's picking up now. Look.
Yeah. This is the transporting.
Yes, and look at the bouncing back. Look at the bounce backs. It's not just one way, and then it goes down, tremendously goes down. Wonder what happened around that time. And then it picks back up violently.
Yeah.
Obviously, they had wars in their countries. Look, we got one just flew over there.
Civil wars going on too, right?
Yeah. And
But I like this map because it shows the waterways to the main arteries.
Yes.
And if you look down in South America towards the I'm not sure if that's Guyana or if that's Brazil. Yeah, that must be the beginning of Brazil, or that is the top of Brazil. Look at those waterways, man. They go deep into the continent.
Well, I might have to I'm gonna have to use this one, VB. This is amazing. This well found. And what's those big? Every now and again, you see a jump coming from Africa.
Yeah, you do. It's a little blip.
Yeah, coming. A little blip, but most of it's concentrated. Look at Brazil now.
You know what it is? It's because you can slow the map down.
Oh, so now we're coming up to the times of when slavery is coming to an end, and so you're still having the trade within the South Americans areas and on the south coast of America there.
Dude, this is 100 years before my parents were born. This shit is going on right here. You see what I mean? Now it starts dwindling down the transporting to the
still going on in Brazil.
Boom, 1861.
Everything just comes to an end.
Yeah, just instantly, like 1861. Everybody freeze. Simon says freeze.
Yeah, right.
And the total is 26,879 ships.
And the sizes of them, like we said, how many tons? 100 tons. You know.
Boom.
Wow.
There you have it, bro.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, VB.
Yeah.
Excellent,
but let's take a look at this some more, man. And I don't know. Maybe I gotta send you a Google. Send me your email in the back chat. Oh no, send it to me on yes. Put your email.
Do you want me to send it to you on WhatsApp?
Yeah, actually, I'll do that. I can make a thing because I think it's better to do a timeline through Google Docs and then you know and then reference that. It might be easier to do a mutual document. You know what I mean?
Perfect. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone.
All right, you too, bro. Appreciate you, Jade. Good to take a look at this stuff today.
Welcome. Thank you so much, VB. I mean, it's been a learning journey for myself today. So
yeah, it's always something to learn, man. And I think although we didn't, we kind of jumped around a little bit, actually, it's a lot of solid information pointed just at the triangular trade and the times. We gave time, we gave data, we gave overview of how it started and the main players in it and how they dealt with each other politically, like how they dealt with the situations politically, leading up to the Americas.
From the first one, but this one here was a really nice foundation we built there. And as you said, we went to different places. We were I was always over the place, I understand. And we really started off wanting to speak about the slave rebellions. But I think today we've kind of established a foundation of like what was really going on,
The mechanics.
Yes.
It's
very important.
Exactly. The mechanics tell you a lot about, it tells you, number one, we were cattle. So, and number two, this is from the European mechanic side. This is from the crowns and the, Europe crowns, how they logistically handled it. What was what their business was. Their business was, how do we trade? How do we set this trade up? How do we examine the product? How do we first even know that we have a product? That we
into a commodity, wasn't it, basically?
Yeah. How did we discover this commodity? And then it was some interesting facts that come out that, like the Canary Islands and all of that between Portugal and Spain, what that was all about.
Grand Columbia.
Yeah, and then jump into the Americas in the beginning in the Americas, right?
Jamestown. So quite a few things were mentioned. Russia, the involvement of Russia.
Yeah, we didn't get a chance to look at the well, we did mention it. No, it's there, man. Russia. There's one ship on file from Russia, bro, in the Caribbean with 300 slaves. Yep.
There you go. So I think Russia, this is a great build today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I appreciate it, Jay.
No, you're
all
welcome.
right, everybody. I'll see. We catch up, man.
I don't know. Yeah. Respects, VB.
Okay. Peace, blood.
Yes, brother.
Yeah. There it is, folks. You know, for those of you that have a little bit of time, you can check it out. See what we were discussing today. It was about the slave trade, and see if some of that information is helpful. And we're gonna come back to it. We focused on the epicenter of. We started with the epicenter of the slave revolts in America, but then we went back. Then we kind of took another look at it and just looked at some data of the slave ships and the transporting. Who's transporting it? Who started the transporting? The logistics of how this would work. Some of the factors that come along with that. And then we looked at what led up to the slave trade. You know, what was going on? You know, how did they find out that they had a commodity here? You know, what that looked like, and then compared how they dealt with that logistically. Because, you know, if the product is slave, and before you come to the Americas, you know, you still got to ship these. You got to bring these slaves to the crown and say, hey, look at what we got here. Look at these goods. Look at what we found. You know, we got some gold. We got some people. What you want to do about it? You know, and so we talked about that a little bit, and then we ended with some data. So take a look at that. And I think we're going to be right back on this topic, you know, almost immediately once we get a chance to take a look at some of this new information we stumbled across. So I appreciate it, folks. That was it for today. See ya.
What's up, Sue?